when we talk about other, let's just say podcast people or authors, public speakers, I mean, think about Mel Robbins. I love Mel Robbins. I love her teachings. I love everything she does. I have no idea what her company name is.
Right.
I actually researched it. It's like 364 studios or something.
Yeah.
Like it has nothing to do with, the let them or anything, any catchy phrase. It's a number on a studio. But we
Yeah.
know Mel Robbins by her name. And
Right.
so, that's kind of what I'm drawn to, is that it's a person.
Yeah, absolutely. And what I found over my years, because I've been an entrepreneur for the past 15 years, and I know you've been an entrepreneur for so long as well, is that, like you were kind of mentioning earlier, is that we change and we grow and evolve and we're not the same people. But what I found is if we can build something, at least for me, this has worked. If I can build something that is in alignment with the things I value most to my core, those core values, that hot topic word, that hot button, and the most of evolution that I go through, it still should be aligned because it's rooted in my values. So it could be completely different. I could go from consulting to selling noodles, but if the core connection is community and good friends and good food and good music, then it still makes sense, And that's kind
Absolutely.
of where I've been finding myself kind of grounding whenever I'm like,
Mhm.
oh my God, I don't know what to name it. I don't know what to do. I don't want to be put in a box. I try to remind myself about that.
Right. But then we get stuck there. And
Yeah.
it's like we can't move on because it's like, well, this is so permanent that I can't make this decision. And it's like, well, what if this doesn't align with me in 10 years? What if there's who cares? It's
Right.
okay. This is you right now. And I think if we would allow people to change more, if we would allow them to grow and not be so judgy. And I'm like, are people actually judgy? Or are we putting that on ourselves?
Mm.
When we shut our electric company down, it took me months to make the announcement, like to Facebook, and to my socials. It took me so long because I was so afraid that people were going to, like, oh, judge me or whatever. Or what I think it actually was, Mackenzie, is that I wouldn't be needed anymore and I wouldn't be relevant anymore. And people wouldn't need my services. And so who am I anymore? And then a big one, when we sold the company, when we shut it down, it was, I'm not a business owner anymore. Who am I? And so knowing that your brand is you, but also your brand can change.
Yeah.
Um, because we can change. And like we were talking earlier, I'm definitely not the same woman that my husband married. Even just and our marriage is pretty short, 10 years ago. I love that we've grown together. We've done things together. We've had weight loss surgery together. Together, I think we've lost 350 pounds.
Wow.
Um, but allowing that grow and allowing that change and knowing that your brand can change too. And it's just because we allow ourselves to change and we allow that beauty to be there and to grow and just evolve and all of those beautiful things. I mean, if you think about it, would you ever want to be, friends or be, let's just say this, be the type of person that never changed? That sounds horrible to me.
Yeah. No. No.
But then we're afraid of it. But actually, if we could just learn to embrace it, I think we'd be a lot better.
Absolutely. And I so agree with everything that you said. And a lot of it comes down to a fear of perception, right?
Yeah.
Like whenever we go and make some big announcement that we're shifting or we're pivoting or we're closing or selling, we're scared to be perceived in some type of way as a failure or someone that can't be consistent or who is
Right.
just can't get our shit together, whatever it is. A lot of everything, I almost believe everything routes back to some sort of fear. And I always talk about
Oh,
cognitive
absolutely.
coding, and that's what we got to do is we've got to learn how to reframe those fears.
Oh, yeah, I know. I have some friends right now going through some hard things, and I remember yesterday she was just like, "I'm spinning out. I'm freaking out. I'm so scared." And I was like, "Okay, let's play this game. What is the worst case scenario?" And if that happened, then I said, then let's back out of that and let's see how actually we can handle that.
Right.
And actually, that worst case scenario is very, very solvable and something we can do together.
Yeah.
And once we realized that, it was like, oh, okay, I can breathe. I can make it through this. There is a game plan. And even if I don't know it right now, I can figure it out.
Oh my gosh. And you are such an incredible human and you're an amazing friend. And I'm really excited for our conversation today. So I want to introduce you to everybody here that is going to be watching this either here on video on YouTube or be listening in on the podcast. So if you guys don't know me, I am Mackenzie Morris. I am a fractional CMO, business coach, visibility strategist, all the things. I help you build brands that are impossible to ignore and while bracing your authenticity. And I am here with Jean Florea, who is an amazing human. Highly recommend you connecting and following her on every single social media platform. And if you get a call with her, more props to you because you will learn so much. She will pour so much into you. But Jean is a speaker, a nonprofit founder, and entrepreneur whose work centers around connection, confidence, and creating spaces where women feel seen and really supported. So obviously we get along so freaking well because I love all of those things. She is the founder of Jean Florea LLC, a speaking and storytelling platform built on authenticity, warmth, and the belief that the best lives are built side by side. She is the founder of Workers United, a nonprofit providing scholarships and mentorship and community for women entering the skilled trades. She's a mom and a Gigi, and she really weaves real world grit with deep emotional wisdom. And her whole core message is that you do not have to do life alone. So, Jean, I am so excited to have you here.
Oh, thank you for that introduction. That was so sweet. I know it's a lot in there, but thank you. And I hope I embody, every word of it and every part of what you said.
Yes, I mean, knowing you personally and professionally and reading through this bio, you absolutely do embody it. And you are such an inspiration and a motivator and an empowering person to be in proximity with. And it is just so cool to have witnessed your evolution and your growth and the building of companies and the selling of companies and the transitioning, the lateral moves, and all of those things. And all of this you've done with your own grit, like we said. You have built your own table. So, walk us through the journey of kind of how you got to where you are now.
Yeah, let's see. So I have not always been an entrepreneur. I think I've had an entrepreneur spirit always, because when I was 18, I actually sold Mary Kay. I won a car, one of the youngest car winners to go so fast. I won a car in 4 months.
Nice.
And at that time, that was the fastest you could because you had to have 4 months of production to show that you could keep your numbers up. And so that was 18. But also at 18, I got married. So also at 18, I had children. And so I actually think my first child may have been born when I was 20, 19. And so, I waited a whole year, but so I was a very, very, very young mom. And I stayed home with my children for a while. I did go ahead and finish my degree. My children were a little older when I finished. And so I have three children now. One is, gosh, 29, almost 30, 26, and 21. And so when I finished my degree, I was actually expecting my last one. And so I was pregnant when I walked across the stage. And so when I used my degree was in psychology, actually, psychology and counseling. And I became a hospice counselor.
Wow.
And so I think just diving into that first career of hospice was just incredible and so just life expanding. I know that's wild because you think of that's life ending, but just the grace and the beauty in all of that and people and the
Right.
connection with people. So, but that was one of my first careers. Fast forward, I went through a very difficult divorce, a very public divorce. He was a school teacher and a minister. Threatened to have my children taken away, everything, and a lot of ugly details. But it wasn't anything because of me, but it's because I left my children alone with him, and he was accused of some very ugly things. Um, and I when I became a single mom, the only thing I knew I could do to be able to keep the hours and do things with my children was become a teacher. And so I went ahead and I tested. I earned all of my certificates. I'm certified in English, special ed, psychology, and began to teach. That was wonderful and beautiful until my husband one day said, "We're going to start a company." I said, "We're going to do what?" And throughout the years, I had done many MLMs and selling and become successful and done things in my teaching career. And I remember it was January 1st, it was 2023. And we were going to start in the summer after I was finished teaching. And he said, "Nope, we're going to go ahead and start. Let's do this." So January 1st, we did it. From day one, we had 3 employees. I would not recommend that because both of my boys are
Impressive.
electricians. So it
Okay.
went to not just needing to provide income for one family, but for 3.
Okay.
And,
Yeah.
but Mackenzie, we flourished. I mean, we hit the ground running. We went hard at one point. And what's really wild, our company was only open for about 2 years.
Yeah.
And in our first year, we almost had 200,000 in sales. Um, and I'm sorry, I'm way under on that. We had 800,000 in sales. We were almost at $1 million
Okay.
our our first year. And but what I found too was going from 0 employees to 3 employees to at one point we had 10 on our payroll. And this is all within our first year. And we're having huge contracts. And because my husband was very well known in the electrical world, still is, and he was very trusted. So we had big jobs come in fast and quick. And we woke up one night, could barely breathe, and worrying because one of our employees, one of my favorites, had 8 children. And
Wow.
we have employees with 4 children, and the pressure of knowing I had to provide the meals and find the jobs to feed those families was a lot.
Right.
Um, and we realized we didn't like it. We
Fair.
didn't
So
we didn't
fair.
like that size. We didn't like the scale that it was at. And so when we had an offer to sell the company, my husband's licensed in many states, and they made us an offer. We were like, yes, yes, very quickly a yes. But
Yeah.
realized that we had the tools and had the keys to build something very successful. Um,
Yeah.
didn't like the stress, didn't like, all the other parts about that. But I know there are ways around that for business owners. You can have financial investors, you can have people that know, you can hire you, you know.
Yeah.
Having, if I would have had you by my side and just having someone, because we didn't know what
Yeah.
to do with our taxes, we didn't know how to do our books, or any of that. We didn't know how to even run our QuickBooks and how to put them in categories
Right.
correctly. So I mean, we learned so much, but what we saw though is that we had so much right. We
Yeah.
had our skills right. We are One of the things I can say in sales, and I can say in when you're developing things and as an entrepreneur, in in the world that we're at, we're very regulated. So especially in my things, where in trades we have inspections, we have code books, there are very strict things. So when you hire my company or the next company down the road, the service and the quality of work should be the same. I should say
Mhm.
should, because it's inspected. It's very regulated. So what people have to decide on is who or
Right.
whom they're going to purchase from.
Yeah.
Because you should, and that goes with anything, even with business consulting. I should be able to hire a business consultant and get good information, get good legal. I mean, because that's you can Google that. You can Google those steps, do 1, 2, 3, 4, but without that proper guidance and having that person that you trust to walk you through it. And so that's why I found people bought us.
Yeah.
People chose us because they trusted us. One of my favorite things and one of my favorite stories is we had an inspector in a small town, Oklahoma. And if you've ever watched the movies or anything, and the corruption in small towns, and they can get away with anything, it's true.
Okay, now we know.
It
You
is.
heard it here, folks.
It is. And so we were working with a town, and it was a larger town that we were working with at first, and had a great relationship with the ladies in the coding office, and getting all of our permits. And we had two houses within three houses of each other. So we had a house here, three houses down is the next house. The ladies said, well, when you're ready to start the next one, call us, we'll get the permit, we'll get it going, and we can, move on. Really simple job. So my son actually went ahead and started the job, called the girls, and was like, hey, we're almost finished. Can we get an inspector out here? Can we get this going? She pulled the address and she said, that's not my house. She said, that's another county. We went, no, you're kidding me. You are kidding me. Because I mean, it can be. Yeah, there are other ways that that other counties would require. You have to do the different steps differently. So I knew calling this other county, I was going into a shit storm. I don't know if we're cussing on this, but I knew I was going into it. I was going in to ask a favor too. And I was going in as a woman. So I called and I called and I called. They weren't answering, and they knew what was going on because I had left messages. So I said, okay, I will be there 8 o'clock in the morning. Because what it was that I needed an inspection before the electrical company would turn the power back on. And I had a home with 5 children. I think that like 5 rabbits, 2 dogs, middle of the summer. It was over 100 degrees.
Yeah.
And when I called and I finally got a hold of this inspector, he said, you're putting that family up in a hotel. And I was like, oh, okay, fine. Whatever. This was a Thursday, I think. I think we started on a Wednesday, a Thursday. And so I was like, I'll be in there to talk to you in the morning. Well, I showed up when the office opened, and I'm sitting out, and it's a glass, you can see the glass doors and see outside. He pulls up in his truck, proceeds to eat his breakfast sandwich in his truck, watching me in his office. And I just sit back and I'm like, okay, buddy, two can play at this. I mean, it was wild. It was just like a power thing from the beginning. So he finished his breakfast sandwiches and comes in and looks at me. He's like, I guess you're Jean, huh? And I said, yes, sir, I am. He said, so you didn't do this. I said, yes, sir, I know. And I need a favor, or we need to get this done. So he asked me to go back in his office, and he's this big towering man. He's standing over me. And that was the first time I learned, never stay seated. This is for the ladies. Never stay seated when a man is standing. Never. I don't care if it's, I don't care.
Yeah.
If a man is standing, you are standing. Never let a man tower over you. And I remember when he was towering over me, just the way I was like, okay, I'm going to stand up. I was scared to stand.
Right.
But I knew I had to.
Yeah.
So I stood up. And so I was, of course, he's taller than me, but I stood, and I mean, I'm shaking, Mackenzie.
Yeah.
And he told me, he said, we're going back in my office. And we went, yes. And so he took me back into his office, private office, no one around, closed the door. And I'm like, oh, all these cuss words are going in my mind. I won't say them right now, but I'm calling him all sorts of one. He proceeded to berate me for about 30 minutes of how we were doing this wrong and how we were making mistakes. And I finally stood up and I looked at him. I said, sir, you've just taken all this time to tell me what we did wrong. I knew exactly what was wrong before I walked in this door. I said, you can now take your time to help me, or you cannot. And he looked at me and he goes, legally, I have 10 days to even respond to your request. So you better figure out how you're going to pay for that family to stay in that hotel for at least 2 weeks. And and so, I mean, I had to leave. I didn't get the outcome I wanted. But you know what I did? I called OG&E. And this may be incriminating. Maybe we should take that out. But I called the gentleman and I told him what was going on, and he knew exactly. He told me the name of the inspector. He goes, are you dealing with this one? I said, yes, sir. He said, Jean, he's going to wait 2 weeks to go do an inspection. And when he gets there, he's going to find something wrong and he's going to fail it. He said, I don't care how good your guys are. I don't care what you've done. He's going to fail it. And then he's going to wait another 2 weeks. He said, if I don't come out and turn this on, he said, your family's not going to have power for probably 30 days.
Ugh.
And I was like, oh my goodness. And he said, but I'll be there in 30 minutes and turn your family's power on.
Mm.
I can't tell you how many times that guy called and cussed me out because he showed up and he was like, why is this family's power on? And I said, you can't. I was like, hey, call OG&E. But just when I shared that story and when people found out that that's me and that is my grit and I will show up, and I love this. I'm going to make a t-shirt one day, but I will show up shaking for my families. I will show up and I will fight for them. And that's why people chose us. And that's why people chose my brand and chose FG Electric, is because they trusted me.
Yeah.
They trusted me that if there was something wrong, I'll admit all day long, that was on us. Like but we thought we had the relationship, and we did have the relationship with the other town, and it would have been fine. The house that we did at the earlier part of the day was just fine. Um, but I fought until we got it right.
Right.
Um, I remember one day one of my apprentices totally ruined and blew up the family's Christmas wreaths. Doing electric work, wired something backwards. And I mean, it happens. It just
Right.
does. It should have never happened, but it did. And he ruined this man's wreath, number four of them. I'm like, oh, it's wreaths, it's Christmas wreaths, that's fine. $300 a piece. So
Oh man. Who
I'm like,
does
well, of course we blow up the nicest wreaths we can find. But again, we fixed it and we
that?
were
Right.
there until everything was right. And over our 2 years of work, I think that was our worst things that happened. But people choose you and your brand because they trust you, because they know you're not going to give up to fight. Like, I have plumbers in my house right now. I trust them. They keep calling me and they're like, ma'am. I'm like, no, I don't want to hear it anymore. Like, because when they call me, there's always another problem. I'm
Yep.
like, but I trust them to know that they're going to do exactly what they're here for. I know the owners. She's a lady. She's also a plumber. Love her. And I know that if I call her, that she's going to make it work and she's going to make whatever right.
Right.
And so I had no idea who was going to show up at my house today, but I knew her
Right.
and I
Absolutely.
knew the owner, and that's the brand, that's the trust that I went after. And so so build, coming back to your brand is yourself, is that I'm not an electrician. You do not want me working on your home. You do not want me in your panel. You don't want me doing any of that, but you want me there fighting for you when something goes wrong. And you want
Right.
me there fighting for you and making sure it's right, and that I hire the right people, and that I hire people that we trust, and that they're going to do the correct job.
Right.
Um, and so, that's the brand that you're selling. I know, like, for a while, you had your clothing design, and you may not be a seamstress, but we trusted you, that you knew what looked good on women. You knew what made women feel confident. And you knew that, well, you could take a simple, flimsy piece of fabric, put some, other material with it, sew it, put some seams with it, and we knew that you could make us look gorgeous. And
Wow.
so it wasn't that we trusted you as a seamstress or anything like that. We trusted you as how you could make us feel. And that, oh gosh, that's an important thing. People will have no idea about your sales pitch. I will not remember your sales pitch one iota. You won't remember my cute little lines, although I wish you would sometimes. Show up
Right.
shaking, all that stuff. We don't do life alone. I love those little things. But what they'll remember is how I made them feel.
Mm-hmm. So tell me a
And
little
they're your
more.
sales. Go ahead.
Oh, go ahead. Oh, go ahead.
Oh, no, I was just saying, your sales pitch is about your product, and your sales pitch is about what you can provide. But your tone, your smile, the way you present yourself, the way you live your life, the way that you present yourself on socials, the way they see you in public, that's your brand. that's what people learn to trust. And so, it's just what I love too about it is that your brand can be anything.
Yeah.
Right now, I'm not an electrician. I don't own an electrical company. Now, my husband, we're with a bigger company. I'm not employed by them. My husband is, but so changing that brand of I'm no longer, well, I was never an electrician, but I'm not an electrical business owner. And so now I focus more on my nonprofit, which we barely talked about that, but that Workers United. And so when I found in my electrical company, I'm hiring a little 18-year-old boys out of high school that they've never even picked up a screwdriver. They have no idea what they're doing, but I'm still paying them $20 an hour, which in Oklahoma is a good rate, especially for an 18-year-old.
Mm-hmm.
And I was like, why am I not giving this to girls? Like, why aren't girls even applying? Because I was starting to meet some female electricians. They were making like 3 times what I was, but you know, who am I? It's just the business owner. One girl I tried to hire, she got 3 raises, so you're welcome.
Nice.
But I just realized that girls, it wasn't that they weren't welcome in the trade. It wasn't they weren't getting paid what they're worth in the trades. They weren't even getting trades offered to them. I mean, if you think about it in high school, when you got your sales choosing your careers or what college you should go to, did anyone ever say, hey, Mackenzie, have you ever thought about being an electrician?
No, and I can go. It's so funny because I don't even remember a job fair, but I don't know if you know this about me, but I actually did work in the trades. I worked for a construction company called United Rentals for 5 years.
I do remember that. And
Yep.
you rocked it. Gosh,
I loved it.
I want to put bad
Loved
words in
it.
there so much all the
You can, girl. You can speak the truth.
Oh, you fucking rocked it. You're amazing. And yes, no, and that was one of the things I was drawn to you, watching you and knowing like your hustle. And I love that about you, Mackenzie, because no matter, and this just goes right back into your brand, is no matter what you were doing, no matter what you were selling, if it was rental products, if it was bridal clothing, or if it was marketing help and business strategies, it's all still you, and it's your radiance and the thing that we trust about you, that and a lot of it, Mackenzie, is your hustle. We
Mm.
trust your hustle, that if something is not right, you're not stopping
No,
until it is,
I will not stop. You're right. You're right,
you
girl.
know? And that is so evident in you, in watching you. And I have to brag on you, watching you open, shut businesses, pivot, change, and go through different things. Girl, it's inspiring.
Oh.
And it's been incredible. And I know it hasn't been easy, but you haven't shown that. You haven't shown the world that, hey, this is harder than you think. But I just know because I've gone through it.
Yeah.
Um, and so I am just so proud of you and proud of all the pivots that you've made, and the way that you pour into women and you pour into people has just been incredible. A lot of that is just showing them your hustle and how you don't stop. But and that is your brand. That is your we're gonna figure it out personality,
Mm.
that no matter what. And so it doesn't matter if you're selling me makeup, or whatever. I trust you that you're going to pick the product that is good and you're going to see it through to the end till it's right.
Oh,
And
well, thank you. That is so kind, so sweet. I would love to hear more about, we're talking about building trust, and that's
Mhm.
how people are buying into you and they know to work with you. That's the core differentiator, right? So, what are some things that you have done to help build that trust? Do you go to in-person events and do you do a lot of one-on-one calls? How are you building those actual deep connections? Because I know at a lot of networking events, you get like a 10-second pitch and everyone goes around and then that's it, right? So, it's hard to make a real connection like that.
I hate those. I
Yeah, me
hate
too.
those. But they're a necessary evil. You do have to get out there. What's funny, and I'll get back to your question, is a lot of times I went to marketing events for my own sanity, just because I needed connection with other people. So
Yep.
even if those marketing events aren't, paying your bills or filling your orders, sometimes they're good for other reason, and it may be for mental health. But
Yep.
how did I get my brand out there? Mackenzie, this comes back to authenticity. When you look at my Facebook, sometimes when I tell people, when they look at my socials, I'm like, oh gosh, what are they going to think? Because I'm about as raw as they get. Um, I just put it out there, and a lot of people may not think it's that raw, but for a 40, oh my gosh, I'm 49 as of last week. Okay. As a 49-year-old woman, almost 50, from a very conservative background, where my mother trained me, you didn't come out of your room in the morning till you were completely polished.
Oh,
And that, unfortunately, that teaches you that you have to change something in order to just show up in the world. And that's
mhm.
hard to change. That's hard to alter in your mind, to be like, you know what, no, I don't have to change anything about me to show up.
Right.
And so I have learned to be authentic. And what I have found is, so many other people, if I'm experiencing it, probably more than more, there's other people experiencing it too. I'm not that unique.
Yeah.
I mean, I like to think I am, and I like to think that I'm wild and out there, but I'm really not. The threads that we have through humanity that keeps us all the same and keeps us together is wild. But so if I'm experiencing something, other people more than likely are going through that too. So
Mhm.
just putting myself out there as authentic as possible, so people know. I mean, if I look on someone's socials and they are perfect all the time, I don't trust them. I don't trust them at all.
Big bitch. No. Love it.
Because I'm like, there's no way. But it's also too, I can't identify with that.
Yeah.
It's like that there are dishes in my sink right now. If I turn my camera around, no.
Girl, same. Girl, same. I've got a wagon full of stacked shit over here. Okay, we've got to have a moment. Look at this. I have a lamp with a bag on
Yes,
it because that turns on pink uplighting if the lights are off. And it gives
yes,
it
yes,
pink
yes.
vibes. We've got,
Okay. We're doing this. Okay, look,
yeah.
see, I have one suitcase still left from Greece. And then there's my puppy. But look, I made my bed.
Oh gosh. Yeah, people don't understand. I've been sharing some behind the scenes of like my setups at night. I come alive at nighttime. I love going out. I love being
I love
inspired
that.
at night, being under my twinkle lights. And I literally had this setup one day. There was like some pet medication, two little baskets filled with like Legos and crap. And then I had my light like this, like clipped onto the basket that's like teetering off the thing,
Yes.
balancing on a roll of tape. I'm like, there's no excuse. There's
No.
no excuse. Just make it. Just
No.
do it.
Yes. And so, I think what that is, when you show up in the world, when you show up to those marketing events, or whatever you do authentically,
Yeah.
let me say it correctly, then that is the first step of building your brand.
Right.
And so, in when you asked, how do you build this brand, I remember getting stuck and thinking, like, do I always have to show up in pink? Because pink is very important to me. In the trades, pink was used as a punishment for a long time. If you forgot your tools or your safety gear, you had to wear pink. I had to use pink tools. And I say that's bullshit. Pink is
Yeah.
not a punishment. Pink is a power move. And so if you wanted some power, then you use the pink tools or the pink safety gear. So, but I used to have to worry, do I have to show up in pink to everything? No.
Yeah.
There's some days when I'm not, my pink is empowerment day, and I'm there just to support somebody else, or whatever my role is that day. My brand is fluid,
Yeah.
but my core values are not.
Yes.
How I make people feel is not fluid.
Yeah.
That is permanent. How I pour into people, that is permanent. My authenticity of myself, of my struggles, that is permanent.
Yeah.
But my pink, it may be purple one day. It may
Yeah.
be blue. It may be my favorite color is brown. My favorite, I love the fall colors. So I say all that, you don't have to be married to a color, to a color palette, to a font, to even to a logo. And I know
Yeah.
that was tough because
Hard. That's a hard one, girl.
that one's tough. And I'm going through it right now. Do I need a logo? But let's circle back. Mel Robbins. Do you have any idea what her logo is?
It's her name written very well.
Okay.
That is her logo.
Okay. Very cool. Very cool. Okay. So, but as a marketing specialist, you know that. But do you think most people would know that? Or do they think, oh, that's just her signature?
No, they probably think it was a signature. And I only know because I went and researched her brand when I was going through the same thing. Because I was like, wait, I want to build a Mel Robbins style empire. What is her logo? Does she have a company? I went down that whole rabbit hole that we're talking about. And then I
Yes.
ended on mine, Mackenzie Morris, and I kind of combined some different styles and whatever to getting one that I really loved. But yeah, my logo is also my name.
I
And I
love
think
that.
that's a sense of power.
Yes, well, and that gives you so much freedom, though, Mackenzie, because, how old are you?
I am 29.
Okay, so as a 29-year-old, I hope and pray when you are 65, you're doing something different. You
I
know,
will be. I probably will be with my track record.
I hope you are. You will be in a completely different part of your life. You'll be through fucking menopause, dear God. Whew, that's something else. That'll change you. No woman should ever stay the same after they come through that.
Yeah,
But so I hope and pray that in a different part of your life that your brand will be different, but you will be the same.
yeah.
Your core will be the same. I have a feeling even at 65 your hustle will not change. Yeah, it may slow down a little bit. I doubt it. I don't know.
I was telling my husband the other day, I was telling him my big goal for 2026 is I want to go to a music festival. I want to go to Electric Forest or I want to go to Tomorrowland in Thailand.
Oh,
And
cool.
he's
Okay.
not down for the music festival thing. And I'm like, well, if you don't want to go, I'll find someone that will.
Yeah.
And we're gonna
Group
go
of girls.
and do that. Yes, yes, I'm absolutely here for it. But what's so cool is I was like, I really think I will be the 45 to 50-year-old at the concerts, at the raves, doing that because I love it and I come alive with it.
Absolutely.
And it's so funny because a lot of times whenever people are trying to show up online or when they're just trying to figure out how to exist outside of online, right? Because one, a lot of people don't even know that they have a personal brand. Everyone has a personal brand. PSA, you are your personal brand. If you are living and breathing, you have a heartbeat, you have a personal brand. That's just a
Yes.
fancy way of saying people know who you are and it's what you put out into the world. Right.
And
And
it's how it's people it makes people form opinions about you.
yeah,
And so I promise you, people have opinions about you that you don't even know, and that they have formed their brand for you.
yeah,
And so, unless you do things to be active about, building your brand or forming your brand, people will just, and then it goes back to that authenticity. They're going to watch your life and they will form opinions about you. And
right,
so when you are marketing and you are branding yourself, you are giving yourself opportunities to help shape those opinions.
right.
And so, think about it. When is the last time you walked into a room and you locked eyes with someone and they lit up? And they were genuinely happy to see you. And I know you do this to people. And so I have experienced that with you, and your eyes light up, and it's just like, I'm so happy to see you. But that feeling that you get, that's your brand. That
Right,
feeling that you make other people feel about you, that's your brand. That's your core. And that's what makes people choose if they're going to work with you, if they're going to purchase from you. And so
right.
I know, even as a teacher, I made sure that my eyes lit up, and I had to work on it. I mean, there were days I didn't want to see those kids.
Right.
There were days I'm like, look, you need to stay home. Like, me and you
I'm
aren't going to get
fine.
along today.
So
But yeah,
Tell
High
me.
school special ed's a whole nother thing, but
Oh my God, I couldn't imagine. So all of this is kind of reminding me, and it's bringing me back to kind of what we had casually mentioned in the very beginning
Mhm.
about people waiting for permission to show up and to
Girl.
have a seat at the table and to basically have permission to be themselves, to go for their dreams, and why people feel like they have to have permission and maybe how to stop it.
So I realized one day, I was very anxious. It was a pretty bad mental health day. Just an anxiety, and that's another thing. Menopause coming. And you don't realize it. You think you're going crazy because people don't tell you, your doctors don't tell you. But anxiety is a huge thing of menopause. And I remember I did not enjoy that day. I didn't at all. Things got a little bit better, but that anxiety and things stuck around. And I came to the point where I realized, you know what? My days are happening. The world is going on. Time is taking place. Time is moving forward, whether I'm enjoying myself or not. And so if I could just figure out a way to enjoy this, if I could figure out a way to give myself permission to enjoy my days, give myself permission that I can take the steps that I need to do to fix myself. I needed to go to the gym more often. I needed to make sure and follow up with my doctor when I was having more anxiety. I needed to do some other things, but right now there's in my point of my life, I'm very, people depend on me a lot.
Mhm.
I'm helping with my granddaughter, my mother, my aunt, my sisters. Like I have a lot of people that I help with, and realizing that I was the only person that I needed to give myself permission to take care of myself in the midst of all of that.
Yeah.
And it was just like, oh, I didn't need my mom's permission. I didn't need my husband's permission. I didn't need anybody
Right.
except for mine. And it came down to it was like actually people really didn't care what I did.
Yeah.
It was just myself keeping me from it. And what I have found, women in the trades, the doors are open. We just really haven't been invited. And so
Yeah.
but it's like, you don't need an invitation. You don't need someone to tell you, hey, you can come. You walk in those doors and you tell them why they need you. And it is just like, ugh, that permission thing gets me because I when researching for this, it was wild, Mackenzie. It kind of caught me back because it said 84% of women, and this was a very recent study, I think within the last 2 years, had to ask permission from a male person in their life to have a job outside the home. And I was like, 84? And so, but that one kind of struck me back, and that could
Right.
be worded differently. When you are a couple or when you make decisions in your home, you have to come together. You have to make decisions with your spouse, and so maybe yeah, that it wasn't so much permission, but we had to decide together. But I do still think there are people and women that still do feel trapped and they do have to ask permission, but that's a whole nother topic. That's
Right.
don't get
That's
me
another
started on that
episode
one.
we
Like
can
that,
talk about later.
like that's the whole patriarchy that we got to take on. Which
Yes,
I'm
girl.
totally willing to do. Like we can do
Yes.
that, but we might need to schedule another time.
Yes. Yes, we do.
But the permission that we need from ourselves, because really that's it. And when, I mean, honestly though, as ladies, sometimes we do have to tell ourselves it's okay. I remember taking a yoga class, and it came to the end where it was the relax. And I struggled so hard to get
Mm,
my brain and my mind to calm. And it came down to that, you know what? This is for me. I
mm,
have to figure this out for me. And
right.
it was giving myself permission to relax, giving myself permission to not worry about everything that was going on outside of that room for 30 minutes. Hey,
Right.
stop. You see my booby? He's beautiful and precious.
Oh, he is beautiful. Wow. Oh, I love it.
He's a sweet golly. He's a golden retriever collie.
Oh, that's cute. Oh,
But yeah, but no, just that you absolutely do not need permission. And sometimes you also absolutely, I say that word a lot, have to build your own seat. Some
yeah.
people may that I remember showing up to a dinner party and I was an I get uninvited guest. I came with as a date. And then when it came time to fix my plate, everybody else had a plate and I did not. And that feeling of I'm not feeling welcome
Right.
and not I was like not invited. I mean, there were some weird dynamics. I'm pretty sure the wife, had a crush on my husband, all that stuff, but it was weird. Uh, but you know what I did, Mackenzie? I looked her, I said, "Hey, where are your plates?" And I
Mhm.
went over to the cabinet and I got one out myself.
Good.
Because I was like, you know what? You may not have made a place for me, but I'll put a place at my own table. It'll be
Yeah.
fine. I'll build
Oh,
a seat at my own damn table.
I love it. And I think the core message with all of this comes down to the worthiness of like you are worthy
Mm,
to be welcome, to be enjoyed, to
yes.
take time for yourself, and to think that you're worth taking care of. And I think a lot of times that's
Yeah.
on the back burner. And for me, I've started going out and working out at 9:45 or 10:30 at night because that's when I have time. And that's what I've been doing. I've been going to Hot Works and sitting in a 125-degree sauna and doing Pilates and loving every freaking minute of it because it's the one
I
time that
love that.
I've really been able to sit down and shut my brain off because it's so goddamn hot.
Yeah.
And my body is doing things I've never thought it could ever do. But the
Right.
fact that I'm putting myself in this situation and I'm trying, I'm learning so much more about my own strength that I didn't know that I had. And
Ah,
it has turned into so much more than just going to work out, but it's
yeah.
become a whole mindset reset, a body recalibration. I'm getting stronger mentally, emotionally, and physically, and my clothes are fitting better. I'm proud, right? Because I'm
Yes.
doing it and I'm pouring into my body and finally doing the thing that it's taken me years and years and years to try and figure out how to do for myself.
I love that so much. It's basically you have given yourself permission to thrive.
Yeah.
And I love that you're doing it 10:30 at night because I mean, that in our self-help world, we got to wake up at 4 a.m. We got to do this, we got to do that. It has to be, there's so much toxicity in the self-help world. Oh,
I
that's,
can't get over. I went to bed at 3 a.m. last night. I am not part of that group. I'm a night
yeah.
owl. I like to go out. I get triggered when someone tells me they go to bed at 8 o'clock. You might go to bed at 8. I don't think you do, but I don't know what it is, but there is something about the personal development space that trickles into the entrepreneurship space that creates this whole facade that you have to show up in a certain way. You need to get up at 5,
Right.
drink matcha, and do the
Yes.
yoga, and then go to a networking, and then be on the call and wear your little suit and whatever. I'm like, okay, no, I don't
No.
subscribe to any of that. And I'm
No.
about energy. And the new space I created was called The Hype, and it's backed by lasers and rave music and all of the things that I freaking love because it's energy.
I
And
love that so
I love
much.
all of it. And I think that's coming all the way full circle to kind of wrap us up is bringing us back to that personal branding and who you
Yeah.
are, what you love, what you value, and how you can package that up in a nice, neat little package to present into the world. But then when you're ready to change it, you can open it up and redo it again. And I think,
It absolutely is. Yeah. And even more than that, it should.
yeah,
Your brand should be fluid. The world changes, nothing stays the same. If it does, it's stagnant and that's gross.
yeah. If you look at like Motorola or Samsung or Macintosh, all
Mhm.
of these companies, most of them did not start out in the tech world. One of them started out
Mhm.
selling noodles. And
Absolutely.
now they're tech giants, but the name stayed the same.
Yeah.
And that's what's so cool is it's their path of evolution
Oh
and
yeah.
it's their barriers of entries into new industries and categories.
Oh, absolutely. I know, you talk about Coca-Cola. The number one recognized brand in the world
Yep.
is Coca-Cola. But how much you can watch their change, their ebb and flow. Their core has stayed the same. Their core values, we're a refreshing company. We make a soft drink. but the things that they've changed throughout the year, they've tried different things. I love watching that. One of my favorite compliments I've ever been given is that someone looked at me and said, Jean, you live your life in a way and that is loud and beautiful that it gives other people or other women permission to do the same.
Yep.
And that just was so, it touched me so much because I struggle. I am loud. I am out there a lot. I attract a lot of attention, I guess we could say. And sometimes I struggle with that because I was definitely not taught that. I was taught to shrink. I was taught to be quiet. I was taught to stay in the background. And to know that I have now evolved into a woman that can inspire other people to live as loud and as beautifully as I do is is everything.
Oh my gosh, this was so good. I just love you. I love your heart. I love your mission. I love your tenacity and your drive and your relentless hustle to make the world a better place, especially for women. So I absolutely love it. I'm so honored to have gotten to spend this time with you today. I want you to tell everyone how they can find you. How can they connect with you on socials or outside of socials?
Absolutely. All my socials, you can always just look up my name, Jean Florea, JeanFlorea. And if you just look that up, you will find me. I am on Facebook, Instagram, TikTok. I'm not that great on TikTok. Like I said, y'all, I'm 40 socials, and you can find on my main. And we'll send some links. I made a link tree so we can get to them all at one place. And pour look into my Workers United. We're starting to do some fundraising. We're doing fundraising on in the trades. You're expected to have all of your tools the first day of the job. That can be anywhere from $3,000 to $5,000 because you need all of your hand tools, which include the battery operated ones, and they're very expensive. And so we are starting the fundraising to help girls to tool out. They're called tool out scholarships. So find us online. You can sponsor some girls. You can send us some money to help some ladies. And we're going to buy hot pink tools because pink is absolutely not a punishment.
Oh, I love it. I love it. And the last thing we will leave everyone with, if you have a freebie or an offer or something that people should know about, or ways to work with you, what would that be?
I am actually, we'll put a link on there. I'm speaking at a conference. I think it is, oh, we're about 45 days out. And she is going to use, if you put in my name in the code, or for the little access code, that you're going to get $20 off of the enrollment or the to get your tickets. And so I'm one of the featured speakers. We're going to be talking about identity, how it changes, how the lies you've told yourself, how you can stop telling yourself those lies, and how you can now begin to replace them with truths about who you are and your identity. And so if you'll follow those links, get those tickets, come spend a whole day with me and some of my best girlfriends. I'm so excited. But there's a women's conference in September, and Reclaiming Your Joy is what the name of it. And so I'm excited and absolutely take advantage of that and get your $20 off and come spend a day with us.
Oh my gosh, guys, go and grab those tickets. Reclaim Joy Women's Conference will be absolutely incredible. The lineup and the caliber of women that are going to be there are absolutely bonkers. It is an incredible space to be in. Jean, thank you so much for chatting with me and just taking time out of your day to be here and to pour into everyone.
Oh, thank you, Mackenzie. And as you know, you are one of my soul sisters. We are connected. I don't know how we're going to end up in the world together one day, but we will.
Yep.
And I just think, we're going to be running side by side the whole time.
Yes, ma'am. Oh, thank you so much.
I love you, dear. Thank you.